Every week, right up until Election Day, we are going to take on a different ballot measure to discuss and hopefully inform you. Let's start right with Initiative 310, which is very much talked about. If passed, it would overhaul the way we currently run elections here in Colorado. Carlos, let's start with you.
So this would allow all candidates primary elections and also ranked choice voting. And I think as I look at this, reminds me of our Constitution. We the people, not we the political parties. And I think that as we look at this, is this something that allows us to be able to have more choice in how elections are? Because I think this election with Harris-Walz ticket has really engaged a lot of Gen Zs and a lot of millennials to really step up their political activity and engagement. Could this be a way to be able to bring them in? As the baby boomers did in the 60s and 70s and have been really controlling the elections for the last couple of decades. Is this kind of like a time in our life where we're looking at the transfer of that electorate to be able to move and shift in different ways? So I'm excited to be able to see if this could be something that could work here in Colorado and give more people choice and more engagement in our political system.
And excite younger voters to come out and participate on that measure.
Yes.
Carly.
So I love the intent behind this, opening up the primary to more voters and seeing potentially more reflection of our real, very independent, pretty moderate electorate in our elected offices. But at the same time, there's just not a lot of data right now around whether this model of open primaries and ranked choice voting achieves that result. I'm a little bit of the mindset of Colorado is already heads and tails above so many other states when it comes to our elections, how they're run, letting independent voters participate in the primary of their choice. Part of me just wonders, Colorado's the guinea pig on a lot of big ideas. What if on this one, considering how great we're doing right now, is this one where we should see how it plays out somewhere else before we make a change to an already great system?
Okay.
Well, our system is great for allowing people to vote. You've got the mail-in ballots, it's easy to register. But when you look at the primaries, for example, to go off what Carlos was saying, you have the Republican Party, are you kidding me? Like, with all the problems they're having, and then they're even trying to mandate who you can vote for within their own party in the primary, trying to keep people out, doing deals with the libertarians. I think it's the primary position right now that really is something that needs to be changed. 48% of the voters are unaffiliated. It's good that we already had the change that allows them to vote in one or the other, but why are the two major political parties the ones who get to make the choices on the candidates that we'll ultimately see in November? So I think this is really an important change, that first part of it. The ranked choice voting in the end is a little more problematic. I have no doubt that Colorado's election judges and clerks would be up to the challenge because they've been up to every other challenge if we ever go to that forum. But ranked choice, I'm still not so sure on, but I love the idea of opening up the primaries.
Okay.
Happy to bat cleanup here. I guess I approach this from the premise that almost any reasonable step to bring politics even only slightly more in a centrist direction and away from the craziness on both poles is a step worth taking. I think that is the intent behind this, and I think over the long haul it will have that effect. The people who are bringing you this initiative are basically the same people who brought you some previous reform initiatives to allow independent voters, unaffiliated voters, to make it easier for them to vote in primaries, and then a few years after that to change the redistricting process to make that less political and more fair. I think this is the next step in that drive toward sensible governmental reform. This is being opposed harshly by vested interests in both political parties, and I think that says something. Our elections do not belong to the parties, they belong to the people. I love Carlos's line, quoting back to the Constitution. And I don't know if this is, to Carly's point, I don't know if this is a perfect system. But I also know that our current system, just based on results, is far from a perfect system. And I'm willing to take a try at this thing. I think it will ultimately lead to more moderate centrist politics, and I think that's to be celebrated.
Isn't it true, though, even if this were to pass, it wouldn't take an effect for a while because the legislature tacked on a clause that said, okay, before we do this statewide, certain areas throughout the state would have to try it out? Isn't that what it is? So it could be a while if it ever happens, right?
Yeah, it would be a while. But, you know, I don't mind being the state that tries this out and takes it forward. We've done that in other areas. So, yeah. And I think, you know, if we could look at it, how do we do it over a period of time so that we get it right? You know, there's no need to rush it. But if we just take our time, get it right, do the education that Carly was talking about, making sure that people understand what they're engaging in, I think this could be a home run.
Okay. Thank you for watching this ballot discussion. The Colorado Inside Out team will tackle one measure every week right up until Election Day. Don't miss an episode so that you are all set to vote on or before November 5th.